Today on Inquirer. President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. will proceed with state visit to China despite its soaring COVID-19 cases. The Department of Health sees no need for the country to shut down its borders amid China's COVID-19 surge. The DICT has received almost 500 complaints regarding SIM card registration issues. And Philippine inflation is projected to be at 7.8 to 8.6% in December. Good evening. President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. will push through with China's state visit despite the country's soaring COVID-19 cases. Even as China is facing a fresh surge of COVID-19 cases, Marcos will still be flying to the country for a state visit slated from January 3 to 5, 2023.
The Department of Foreign Affairs considers this state visit of great significance. It will be the first bilateral visit of the President to a non-ASEAN country since assuming the presidency. It will be the second face-to-face meeting between the two heads of state in less than 2 months. With both leaders receiving a fresh mandate in recent elections, there is an expectation that the state visit will set the tone of bilateral relations between the two countries in the next 5 to 6 years. The state visit is also expected to reaffirm the cordial and neighborly relations between the two countries, ensure continuity in many facets of the bilateral relationship, and chart new areas of engagement. It is also expected to build on the growing trade and investment ties between the two economies, as well as address security issues of mutual concern.
That's Foreign Affairs Assistant Secretary Nathaniel Imperial. As China is currently experiencing a record surge of COVID-19 cases nationwide, Imperial also noted that a bubble arrangement for Marcos and his Philippine delegation will be followed to minimize the risk of exposure to the virus.
Ang ating ugnayang panlabas sa China ay napaka-importante, and we have received assurances from our Chinese hosts that all arrangements are being made to ensure the safety of the President and his delegation during the visit. And a bubble arrangement has been agreed for the Philippine delegation to minimize the risk of exposure to the virus. And, may mga pagbisita talaga na hindi natin pwedeng i-postpone.
The Department of Health sees no need for the country to shut down its borders despite surging number of COVID-19 cases in China. In a press briefing, DOH officer in charge Undersecretary Maria Rosario Vergeres said that closing of the country's borders to China is not necessary despite its rising COVID-19 cases. Meanwhile,
hindi pa po tayo napapanahon o wala po tayong nakikitang pangangailangan para magsara tayo ng borders specific to this specific country o di kaya magkaroon ng mas maigting na restrictions para sa bansang ito. Nakita natin ng ibang bansa na pumutok ang kanilang mga kaso, no? Libo-libo, hundreds of thousands, pero hindi naman natin sila sinara ng border. Hindi natin sinabing, kayo, pag dumating kayo, meron kayo dapat na specific na restriction dahil marami kayong kaso.
First, the DOH doesn't think that it is required or it is needed already that we close our borders or have these regulations or restrictions specific to China only because of what's happening in their country. As I've said before, we are in a much better position currently, compared to 1 or 2 years ago, because most of our citizens are fully vaccinated already. Most of our citizens have learned that good behavior of practicing the minimum public health standards. Now, as for our regulations within our borders, we cannot just have our closure and then open it and then close it again, then open it. We are all moving forward because we would like to reach that new normal.
Meanwhile, countries like Japan and the United States will impose mandatory COVID-19 tests for passengers from China. The Department of Transportation, however, is recommending mandatory COVID-19 testing for passengers from China. Transportation Secretary Jaime Bautista on Wednesday floated the idea of requiring testing for travelers from China as a safety measure. Bautista said that they would also look at how other countries were responding to the situation, noting that other ASEAN countries are also cautious in accepting Chinese visitors. Almost 500 complaints have been received so far by the Department of Information and Communications Technology pertaining to the SIM card registration process. DICT Undersecretary Ana May Lamentillo in a laging handa public briefing said 481 complaints have so far been raised to the department.
Ang total po na natanggap natin na complaints is 481. 195 complaints sa Smart, 121 sa Globe, 83 sa Talk and Text, 41 sa Tito, 20 sa TM, 14 sa Sun Cellular at 7 sa GoMo. So, yan po, we have received 481 complaints. Yung iba po, medyo nahihirapan po sila, mga senior citizen na medyo nahihirapan po doon sa ating process of registration. So, we've asked na someone to assist them. Meron din naman po na nahihirapan makapasok doon sa sistema. But we're asking the public to be a little bit more patient with us dahil nga po, ito po ay 15-day, meron po tayong 15-day test period. I hope you understand the magnitude nito pong ginagawa natin. We are gearing towards a registration of about 150 to 180 SIM cards in a span of 6 months. Sa mga glitches at technical difficulties na naranasan ng mga nag-register, kasama po ito sa tinatawag nating birth pains dahil bago po ang proseso. Kaya nga po ang first 15 days bago pa in-announce namin noong December 26, bago pa po magsimula yung actual na process ng SIM registration, itina-consider po na test period kung saan valid ang lahat ng registration, ngunit merong mga possible technical difficulties.
Meanwhile, John Paulo Salvajan, Deputy Commissioner of the National Telecommunications Commission, pointed out that telecommunication firms had their fair share of problems encountered, mainly from the influx of registrants during the first few days of SIM registration period. The NTC has accounted more than 3.3 million registered subscribers as of December 28. Globe Telecom Incorporated has received about 1.7 million registrations, while Smart Communications Incorporated has over 1 million, and Ditto Telecommunity has more than 530,000. Mobile subscribers have until April 26, 2023 to register their SIM cards to avoid deactivation. Philippine inflation is estimated to be at the 7.8 to 8.6% range in December. Due to the upward pressures from higher electricity rates and agricultural commodities prices, Philippine inflation is likely around 7.8 to 8.6% in December. That's according to the Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas. Higher electricity rates, the uptick in prices of agricultural commodities, elevated meat and fish products, and higher prices of liquefied petroleum gas are presumed to have pushed inflation upward this month. The BSP said its latest forecast puts the peak in December. President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. has ordered the continued suspension of online cockfighting or E-sabong operations nationwide, calling it an urgent need. In his Executive Order Number 9 issued on December 28, Marcos said the ban is in line with the state's paramount obligation to protect public health and morals and promote public safety and general welfare. Marcos also stated that there is an urgent need to reiterate the continued suspension of all E-sabong operations nationwide, clarify the scope of existing regulations, and direct relevant agencies to pursue aggressive crackdown against illegal E-sabong operations in accordance with the law. Live streaming or broadcasting live cockfights outside cockpits Cockfighting arenas or other places where cockfights are held, regardless of the location of the betting platform, are halted under Marcos' directive. Last May, Marcos' predecessor Rodrigo Duterte ordered an end to online cockfighting operations. On the other hand, traditional cockfight operations licensed or authorized under existing laws are not covered by the suspension. Psychological thriller The Leader emerged as the big winner at the 48th Met Manila Film Festival on Tuesday night. Michael Red's film The Leader bagged a total of 7 trophies, including the Best Picture and Best Director honors in the MMFF. Its lead star Nadine Lustre was named Best Actress for her performance in the film, which presents a secretive, shadowy side of the world of online content moderators. Lustre said that the win is still unreal to her, and when asked about how she felt about unofficial reports of the film's good showing at the box office, Lustre replied that these are just numbers, and as an actress who loves her craft, her priority is to entertain her audience. The film also won for Best Cinematography, Best Editing, Best Visual Effects, and Best Sound. And these are the stories you need to know today. I'm Beatriz Pinlac. Follow INQUIRER.net on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, and Reddit. For more stories, visit INQUIRER.net. I'm Beatriz Pinlac. Good evening.